All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is a SABB GA12. So this is just like the G model of the old SABB engines, except for this is the 12 horsepower air cooled, and that's why the designation was the GA model. It was designed and built for use in lifeboats. The reason why it needed to be air cooled is so that way before they put the boat in the water, they could get it all started and get it all warmed up. So as soon as that thing splashed, they were motoring off to safety. They didn't have to worry about trying to get the motor started and trying to get everything primed and make sure the cooling water was all primed before they gave the thing full throttle. The air coolness gave it the freedom. The negatives of that is this thing weighs a ton. The lower crankcase here is different for this model because the air-cooled shroud here is all one big cast piece, and that sucker is cast iron. That sucker is heavy. Also, the flywheel here actually has cooling fins in it, so as it rotates, it is scooping air up, thrusting it over the cylinder here. Normally there's a cap right here covering the injector, and then it pushes the air over the cylinders and out the exhaust for the cooling here. And you can see in the cooling fins here. And it also kind of partially cools the exhaust right here as well, which is kind of a nice feature. This exhaust really doesn't get that hot, at least what I've been running it. I haven't been running it too hard, obviously not under a load. It could get a lot hotter. Other than that, compared to the G model, it is very similar. Everything is the same, going into the actual fuel pump there, goes over to the filter bowl, down into the injection pump, and then up into the injector right here at the top of the cylinder. This guy was obviously neglected, sat for years, but it was stored with oil in it and not in too wet of a spot. So it's not a rust bucket, just the paint is flaking off all over the place and a bit of an oily mess. So other things that are very similar is here, you have the valve oiling cap right here, and then you also have here this lower one that's right over where the intake is right here. Is you've got for your starting oil is what the instruction calls that, and you can squirt a little bit of either starter fluid. I don't recommend that because it actually cleans the filter, cleans the oil off of the cylinders, and you don't actually, it can actually scar the cylinder. I prefer to use WD-40 or some other kind of oil that is actually lubricating, that has a lower compression combustion. Sorry, I got distracted by a biplane flying over my head. Intake, filter, everything else is very similar. This is the only, the forward version. It does not have a reverse. So you have your transmission engage there, and then you have the lever for controlling the variable pitch by changing the outer portion of the shaft, sliding in and out. That's how you were able to go from forward to reverse using a variable pitch propeller. So you could switch forward to reverse very quickly without having to worry about smashing gears. You got your throttle here, so you were able to control your forward and reverse and your throttle right here together as you stood behind the engine here and drove the lifeboat. And you can see here the throttle goes down and goes to the actual governor here and controls that there. All right, so this sucker here is cold. We can see by putting hands on here, she's cold. She hasn't started today. Gotta make sure my makeshift exhaust pipe there is tight. You have your cylinder decompression. So in its natural detent that is open, so it naturally goes to that. For any reason, you can shut the engine off by doing that. That is the primary method of shutting the engine off. You can also do it by full throttle off. Sometimes, depending how this is adjusted, that might cut the engine. This one, sometimes it actually keeps it on. This is actually a lock here to keep that from moving easily. But we're gonna go ahead and get the sucker started. So according to the instructions, is you do throttle full. So we're gonna go full down throttle. And that's going to open up the governor completely to give it full injection. We're going to leave it in the detent, and then it says to go ahead and crank it up quickly, I believe is all it says. It doesn't really say a specific RPM. and then get it spinning, and then go ahead and flip this. If it's really cold, it helps to go ahead and keep trying to crank it over and push it over till she go ahead and starts. She might need that extra couple little chuggas to go ahead and get spinning if she's really cold. Right now it's 80 degrees out, so it's not really that cold. This really shouldn't need that. This sucker runs pretty good. I think she's gonna start right up. I should start first try. So we got full throttle and we're on open. Let's go ahead and spin this thing up. Here, kind of. All right. Throttle. Gotta shut the throttle down right away once she starts going, because she's otherwise she's full throttle. She does have a governor on her, so she's not going to go too fast. She's not just going to run away, but you can go full throttle and she just runs. But the thing just dances because of the vibration of this thing. This thing, you can hear it scraping. It's got a little bit of rust pieces that are just from it sitting for years and some kind of moisture getting down in there. It's scraping on the little rust flakes, so it's a little noisy over there on that side. I just love the sound of these things. If you had a muffler on it, you could hear that the chug just goes away if you have a muffler on it. That's just me deflecting the sound of the chug, that it amazingly gets quiet just with just a little bit of something on it. Really is an amazing little engine. But it's cool because you don't have to worry about any water to cool it, because it's all air cooled just with that fan. Like I said earlier, there's usually a cover right here, so there's a lot of air blowing out of right here. But that would normally have a cover to deflect the maximum amount of air through that hole there. But she just chugs and chugs. I have a problem of it never running down the fuel in the funnel. So I have to just only keep a little bit of fuel in it. Otherwise, I gotta let the thing run for 15-20 minutes to burn up the diesel. The thing's amazingly efficient. I believe according to the manual, I believe, or what people say, is under full load in a boat running, it burns 3.5 liters an hour. Not even a gallon of fuel an hour at 12 horsepower. That's pretty good considering the era that it came out of. I'm pretty sure you can beat it this day and age, but with this, it's pretty amazing. And the torque, I believe it's somewhere around 74 foot-pounds of torque. That is pretty incredible out of 12 horsepower, that you get 74 foot-pounds of torque. It's pretty incredible. I'm really excited to see this go on a boat someday. Well, let's go ahead and rev it up and see how loud she gets. And that would be the full operating speed right there. But she just chugs. It's an incredible sound. This sounds so cool. Once again, scraping rust. All right, let's go ahead and shut her down and then we'll restart her back up again. That's full throttle off. That should be as slow as this sucker goes. And we're gonna go ahead and hit the decompression and shut her down. All right. And there she is. Let's go and see how easily she starts right back up. Still don't need to put any fuel in. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and leave it there. Give a little bit of throttle. We don't need full throttle now that she's not cold. But we're gonna go ahead and spin her up. We shouldn't even have to spin her up too fast. And there she goes. Extremely easy. I don't have to spin that very hard. She spins up really good. She has plenty of compression. Doing really good. I have 2 of these engines. I'm kind of excited about using them for either one as a generator and another one possibly for in a boat, just for fuel economy. So, anyways, all right. Well, pretty exciting. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or anything you want to add. Any comments, any input you might have, anything that I got wrong, anything that I need to correct, or just educate me if there's anything I forgot to mention.